Hey there. All right. All right. We're getting this party started here. And Gary. All right. Cool. I'm letting in Mark, Ayla, Judge. There we go. Hey, Betty. Hey there. Hey there, Rita. All right. All right. Waiting in, letting in Marlon as well. Hey there. All right. So give us join. All right, as people are coming in here, I am Pam Perry. I am excited to be here with you guys. Hey, Dr. Shane. All right, speaker view. All right, cool. So we are here today. Cut this music down here. I'll be here in a little bit. So we're here today to go over 60 minutes about the branding blueprint. All right, the branding blueprint. Welcome everyone. So people will be coming in, and I'll be sharing my screen. It says your Mac will be asleep soon unless you plug into a power outlet. So we do need power. So hold on one second so I can plug it in. I thought it was plugged in. No, it's not. Okay, that's a good thing. That would not have been cool. That would not have been cool because I have been working on it all day. So what I'm going to do right now is really bring up my presentation. So give me a second here. And I'm excited because one of the things that we're going to talk about is the branding blueprint. And then we're going to have you go behind what I would say behind the scenes to actually see what goes into the program as well. So let me pull up my slides here. And then you'll actually go into the program and actually see what's all involved in it and see some of the videos as well as hear from some of the people that have gone through the program as well. And that will be one of the things that we'll do as well. So let me share my screen for a second, give you a formal introduction. I'm seeing adding more people into the weight room. All right, hey, Betty, bring you in. Hey, Patrice. Hey, Linda. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for joining me. Cool, cool, cool. All right, so let me share the screen here. This particular one here. This is really behind the scenes for right now. All right, cool. All right, so we're gonna show the little bit here, the slideshow. All right, cool, cool. So the branding accelerator blueprint. Welcome everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Few people in the waiting room. Hey, Jason. Hey, Ida. All right. So I'll keep an eye on that as we are moving forward. I just appreciate everyone joining us today. Can't hear. So you can't hear. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Thumbs up. I'm not speaking, so we can hear you. Okay. So, all right. So someone was saying, Betty said couldn't hear me. I wasn't talking. So, hey, Karen. All right. So first of all, who am I? Who is Pam Perry? Who is this lady doing all this stuff, right? Like, what is she really bringing to the party here? So a lot of times people always tell you who they are, but it's always really important that not only what you say, but what other people say about you. And so these are just some of the things that have been said about me over the years. I've been in business for 20 years as a publicist. Before that, 10 years before, really 10, 15 years working as a publicist for different agencies. I've worked with organizations like McDonald's, doing the PR for them as well. That's where I actually met one of my first clients for what I'm doing right now, Ken Brown. I've worked with a lot of nonprofits. I spent 7 years as the PR director for the Salvation Army. I've worked with nonprofits such as Detroit Area Agency on Aging and Charles H. Wright Museum. My first job right out of college was working with the Detroit Free Press. Background was in journalism. My major was advertising and PR. Hey, Karen, let me join you. Okay. Background was in advertising and PR. So I really, really love the whole communications field. It's evolved, obviously, over time. When I first really began doing my career in PR, we were faxing emails, right? So that shows you just how old I am, right? But one of the things that I'm most proud of was that the National Association of Women Business Owners honored me in 2019, I believe, yeah, had to be 2019, as one of the top women in Michigan in business. My magazine, Speakers Magazine, all right, hey Karen, I'm trying to admit you. Speakers Magazine, this is the magazine that we put out every month for the last 5 years, has been an award-winning magazine. So that I've been really, really proud of, to say that that has been something that I have done. And again, it was a pivot. One of the reasons why I created the magazine and started the magazine is because a lot of African-American speakers weren't getting the shine that I felt they deserved. As a publicist, you're always trying to get them shine. You're trying to get them exposure. And when they don't get the exposure, then what I said, why don't we create the platform? And so Speakers Magazine started with that premise of really promoting speakers' events, being on site for their events, or if they're launching a book or a program. That's really what it does. And so it's a digest size, and primarily it has some articles in there, but then it also has the features so that speakers can be booked and seen. And it mails out to the media. It gets mailed out, obviously, to meeting planners and things like that. And then the last thing was Core Magazine voted me as one of the most influential, Betty, okay, let's see, Betty is not in here, as one of the most influential Blacks in America. So that was kind of cool. So we're going to go a little bit behind the curtain here, but before we do that, to show you what's actually in the Branding Accelerator behind the scenes, let's talk with some of the grads. And some of the grads are, I see Judge is on as well, Judge Leanya Lloyd as well. So I'm going to bring her up, and if she can unmute, and I'll bring her up. I'll stop the share. There you go. Hey there.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
So one of the things I just wanted to let people know, real people, real things about what every accelerator gets something out. And I will say this, that I've been doing the accelerator since 2018, and every class has been different. Every person gets something out of it different. Carmen got something different versus Alicia versus Dr. Geneva versus Kiera. We've had them all in the past. So with Judge, she'll kind of tell you a little bit about where she started and where she is now in terms of her Brand Accelerator. And what I like, one of the things that I like about the accelerators is that they all fit together in terms of the group, but also too, I see this thread that I can connect them to certain people that I know will be their lifelong relationships and things like that. So without stealing her thunder, I'll just let her tell you what she got out of the Brand Accelerator program.
Okay, I got quite a bit out of the program. You know, I have pivoted several times in my lifetime in different careers. And the problem I had is that I needed to know how to put all of these things together. And I was coming from a multi-award-winning book that Pam helped promote, get out there, and I got a ton of awards for it. So the next step, of course, was the business aspect of how to carry on out to be a speaker. And then, bam, the Branding Accelerator program. That was like right on time. It was right on time. I mean, it helped define, you know, people think they know who they are. They know their business and their purpose and all of that. But when you start doing these lessons and you start doing the homework, you find out exactly how much you thought you knew about yourself. and then what you have to learn about yourself. And you begin to learn how to define who you really are. What is your brand? You look at the experiences, and as Pam was telling us, the experiences we have tells our story. And you start exploring. She explains to you the importance of your brand and how it has to be authenticated, it has to be real, it has to align with your website, it's got to align with your photos. And she gets into all of that because all of those are important pieces of a puzzle that sometimes we take for granted. Oh yeah, we got this, we got a few pictures here, we got no, no, no. You're not ready yet. You're not ready. You begin to find out how not ready you are. And then talking about how we pitch to the media. That was exciting to understand because, like all folks, you write a book, you put your heart and blood and soul into it, and you think, boom, you should be on Oprah. Okay. And when Pam said that, I was like giggling because I was like, yeah, like all my cousins in my ear, etc. But she began to break down what the steps are, where you start, how you move up. Are you ready for Oprah? The answer really is no. When you get through looking at the checklist that this program provides that shows you, you know you're not ready. And you don't get sometimes but one chance. And if you get there and you're not ready, the door slams. Nobody wants to see you again. So this program told you, hey, these are the types of media. This is what you got to get ready for. And then looking at the social media, I had never really looked at all this social media I was on. I had signed up for stuff. It had laid dormant for a while. And I learned the importance of the LinkedIn account, how it's not Facebook. Yeah, Facebook is nice, all my friends, all of that. But I began to learn from this organization, how do I turn something that's a social media into a valuable income market that I have not even tapped into? And as I listened, and I listened to the analyzation of what was happening with the social media links that I had and needed to improve on, so I could attract potential clients, and learning how to construct a real good website. Now, I had help because Pam was my PR person for my book, but a lot of folks in the group had websites, but she brought in a website expert from England. And this guy tore apart all of our websites. He gave us the good, the bad, and the ugly. Okay, let's just be honest about it. And everybody wants to be praised for it, but you really want the truth. You don't want something that's out there and you don't know why it's not really working. And just listening to some of the suggestions that this man made a lot of sense to some of the accelerators. Some of them even hired him afterwards. They were ready to launch a new business, a new book, or something of that nature. But when he pointed out things, because sometimes people can be in love with what they put on their website, but it might not be the greatest thing. So, it's not doing anything. Or what was really brought out in our sessions is that when people go to their website, they're not going to necessarily stay on there. When they get there, do you have everything lined up where it's strategically put? They could hit something and boom, they're right at what they want to see about you. They don't want to go through a bunch of stuff. Well, all of us were having to look at our websites, and you had to be honest about either your weaknesses or your strengths in your websites, and then get it cleared up. Because I began to look at this like that is your heart and blood of everything else branching out from you. Because this is what the Accelerator showed me. It's just not there. It is there for a reason. And when you've got, like I had the trailers on mine and all of that, all people had to do was go to that. They wanted pictures. All they had to do was go to that. It was strategically planned by Pam, okay, who said she knew what I needed. And when I got into this with the interviews and all this, and first things, I need this, I need that. I said, it's on the website. Oh, great. That was the response I got. But would that have been there beforehand? No, because I didn't have all that stuff on there they wanted. But and what was even more important, they were really stressing. There are a lot of speakers out there, the zillions of them. But the point is, and what this organization, Branding Accelerator, says, but what is unique about you? What is unique about your story that makes you different from anybody else, that makes people want to go to you? When we had to create what our mission was, when we had to see what our niche was, when we had to write all this stuff out, and homework was nothing new to me. I mean, I went through law school, so homework was nothing new to me. This is what you have to do to get to where you want to go. And when you sit back and you look and you learn from what it is, the questions are designed to have you do. And I said, wow, this is something else. And then we went on to about how the brand story. And Pam had recommended a young lady to write my brand story. And I'm so glad I took her up on that, because this young lady, not only did she read my book, but she went on my website. She turned it inside. She wanted to know everything about me. And she said, I read your website. I saw your bios. And she said, and I really, when she started asking me questions, she zoomed right in, because she knew where to go. She knew what my brand was based upon how that website was constructed. And she wrote one of the best brand stories I could ever have. And thank you, Pam, because that was excellent. And I will use it forever. But it was great.
That's one of the things of connecting people to the right person at the right time. And that's like a way that I have. And knowing Judge's background, and she has a foundation called Twins for Justice. Her book is called Your Honor, Your Honor. There are just so many different things that over a career, when you have an illustrious career for a long time, you forget about what it is that you've done. And so it really takes someone with a different kind of eye to look at it and say, hey, these are the things that are important. You're not really pushing this. You're not talking about that. Of course, obviously you have the book, and the book has won like 5 awards, 5 book awards, not just a bestseller, but award winning, which I always tell people there's a difference between a bestseller, because you can kind of finagle the Amazon ratings and become a bestseller in a category on a day and an hour. But an award is something that you earn, and it stays with you for life. But anyway, with Judge, she had this, how do I say, she had cachet already, but really trying to make it more bankable. So one of the things that it was so much going on, obviously, during the time when her book was launching, obviously George Floyd and the protests, and we've had a lot of things changing in the White House. So because of her background as a judge, she was always called upon by was it Black News to be a guest, and she was ready. Like sometimes they will call her and say, you're going to be a guest Thursday, and it's Tuesday, or sometimes they'll call like Wednesday night and say you're going to be on Thursday morning, and she would be ready. But I'm telling you, that didn't freak her out, because so many times she was on panels, or as a guest with some heavy hitters out of the Washington D.C. area. But when I saw the videos and the replays, she held her own. And it was because her messaging was on point, and she knew obviously to let them know that she had a book, but she wasn't just on there selling the book. So she's had a lot of interviews like that where I can see that she just held her own in terms of like getting on there, really why they picked her, and then actually sharing the fact that she had an award-winning book. So that was one of the main things. So make sure I bring in Juanita. Okay, yes. So Judge, then also too, the cover magazine, you're on the cover magazine, and that was during 2020. It was a red, black, and green, and that whole thing. That part was really, really cool, because it just kind of brought out more about your book and the restorative justice that you talked about, as well as, obviously growing up a child of the 60s, being, during that period of time. So there's a lot of different legs to what Judge has to work with. But one of the main things right now is that she's graduated, and she's into the next phase of really building the business and really making more robust, maybe, of the foundation as well, the Twins for Justice. So that's one of the things too as well, because obviously you've had it, but it's like it's there, but it's like, okay, well, what is really the next phase of that? You've got all these other legs of the things that you want to do. So I can't wait to see what's next for you. Definitely one of the main things that we see for you is, one, working with O Magazine. Obviously we have that we don't pitch until we're totally ready. So that's one of the ones too. And it's almost like double dutch in a way. You jump in when you know that there's something trending that she can add value to. That's one of the main things about media. And also too, being a spokesperson with AARP, about the sisters magazine that they have, and I have connections with that because she made these pivots, a lot of pivots, but this is like really like the main pivot that I guess you would say like her legacy pivot in terms of what she's doing now with the books and the speaking and all of that. So just really trying to make sure that melds with, you said the word aligning, make sure that everything aligns, because
Right.
I'm telling you, if it's not aligned, it's going to just fall flat. So yeah, that is really key. Is there anything else that you wanted to add?
Only that, also Kadena Tate, the revenue strategist expert, she was on in our program. And one of the things that she said that I think hit everybody, which was you need to get paid for what you do. And that's kind of hard when people always are doing stuff and they just do it for free, etc. How do you transfer from that? That was a major question folks had to ask about and stuff like that. But that was one of the things, as well. But and the only other thing I was going to say is that as you just pointed out, in terms of the next steps that I'm going to be taking, one of the things, and it's with the brand, that when people reach out to you, I got a call a couple of nights ago, and this young lady's graduating from college, and so another young lady said, "Please talk to her. She wants you to talk to her. She's read your book." The book club I spoke to, they said, "We have taken a page out of Judge Lloyd's book, and we are now dedicating ourselves to helping the next generation like she's trying to do now." And they sent me a book yesterday for me to look at about one of the father of 5 of those women. And I was just glad that, I could touch somebody's life to help them touch somebody else's life. And
Mhm.
so that's the steps. The brand accelerator has branched out to the next branch for me. Okay. And I'm following the path.
All right, cool. Well, thank you. On this screen, you all can see the screen. Oh my goodness. Can you all see the screen? All
Mhm.
right. Okay. So you see there's Carmen there. Carmen was also an accelerator. She was on the cover of Speakers Magazine as well. She sold out her event. She had an event. This was in 2019. So she had an event and she sold that event out. So that was her first event that she did. I talk a lot about doing a signature event. All of the branding accelerators, typically most of them do their own signatures event. Dr. Missy, which is standing next to Dr. Carmen, she had a signature event called Fearless Women Rock. Keep her in your prayers. She's got a lot of things that are going on, and she has become a screenwriter. She's doing movies. She's doing a lot now. So she was one of the second covers of the Speakers Magazine. And then Kiera Johnson is the go-to person for virtual assistants, building websites. She's kind of like the tech person. She went through the Brand Accelerator and realized that she's a brand as well, not just behind the scenes. And she actually put that business together, and she won the National Association Up and Coming Award or something like that for one of the top 10 women in Michigan as well. So those are some of the people that are in the accelerator. And Judge, I'm gonna go back here and I'm gonna go behind the curtain to really show some other things as well. Hold it here. Okay, we gotta pull this down a little bit so that I can not make the view so large so that I can't get to the other tabs here.
Mhm.
The view, stop share. Okay, let's go here. Because it's so big, I can't get to want to get to the actual program. So that's what I'm trying to do here, so that you can actually see behind that. Oops. There we go. All right. So here we go. So this right here is like our module 1. Can you all see that? Can you see my screen?
No, we don't see a screen yet.
Okay, let's see. So this one right here is the actual program, one of the modules, which is typically the first module for everyone. Every program is different. Every program is different. So it's 12 modules, it's 12 weeks, but depending on who is in the program, because I hand select them, is some of the things that they need. So, Judge was saying that, we had someone about websites. We had our guy from Australia, actually not London, but from Australia, to come in and talk about websites. Another one, we had someone come in and talk about influencers. That particular one on influencers made it so that a lot of content creators in that particular accelerator went on and left their quote unquote full-time jobs and became full-time influencers because of the brand accelerator. But all of them start with module 1. When you're talking about a brand, you're talking about your essence, and we talk about our purpose, clarifying your brand, mastering your message, and telling your story to the media. That's where we start. We probably stay on this maybe a couple of weeks, but primarily it is the homework. You have your homework where you do your PR plan. Now that you understand your purpose, how to get a branded email, which I always talk about is very important. So I just did a whole lesson on that, how to get a branded email. A branded email may be pam@pamperrypr.com. Okay, that's one of the main things that you want to do when you're reaching out to the media on your own behalf. That's really important. Sometimes that's why people hire a publicist, because they'll say, oh, okay, it's Pam at Pam Perry PR. The media will open it. If it's a Gmail or a Yahoo or something like that, they may be a little bit, if they don't know you, they probably won't open it. 10 things that will ruin your brand online, and then get clarity, your story, your brand. And so each one of these are homework or lessons or tip sheets or things like that. But this one is really where people will take the time to go through and ask you questions. You sit with yourself. We go through some of the things in the class and some of the Zoom meetings, but more than likely we're just really, this is something that you will have in addition to when I'm doing the teaching. Go back here. The other part for that. So everyone is different. So the 2019 cohort was different from the 2018. And like I said, the first one is talking about your purpose. Then week 2, we talk about, so you want to be on TV. A lot of them want to be TV, what you need to know. Have actual producers that come in, actually speak to them and tell them what they need. They'll have things about newsjacking, if you've heard that term before, what the media kit, what those are, what's involved in putting in the media kit, and then really about the publicity power platform. So those are the things that they get in addition to the lesson of really talking to a television producer. The other weeks are things like the skinny on the speaking industry, how to get booked and get paid. And so we had 2 people who were professional speakers come in and talk and answer questions and really give them advice and look at their one sheets and things like that, because we do need a one sheet. How to shine online and be noticed by the media. That's really, really key. The tools that you need to get traffic. So the thing about the Brand Accelerator, it combines publicity, it combines digital marketing, it obviously combines publishing, it talks about platform building, all the P's, right? It even talks about podcasting. So depending on which group, where they are, is what I will really hone in on. A lot of them want to know, this particular group want to know about IG, how to master social media. So Instagram, so we're a little bit younger, so they want to know. So we had someone who was an IG specialist, that talked about that. Telling your story, how to pitch. We had some radio and TV. A lot of my friends are in the media. Obviously, that was my background. So a lot of them are here, and then they will come and they can pitch to them on radio and TV. The other thing is how to publish like a boss, how to position yourself to get booked by the major media, words of advice from senior editors. So we had someone from Black Enterprise that came on and just says, okay, this is how you get booked. If you want to have a story, pitch to Black Enterprise. Sponsors, this was something that I can give a bonus for everyone, because they want to know, when we were doing more live events, how to get sponsors for your events. So we had someone who is an expert. She's been doing it for 20 years out of California. She talked about how to get sponsors for your live events. And actually this particular one, there's Charlotte, I believe it is. Yeah, Charlotte. She actually uses and got sponsors for her event. So she got sponsors for her event, and she had Michaela, Kimberly, she had 5 of these ladies come to her event by getting the sponsors for that. So she did her first signature event, got sponsors from that, and then brought in the other accelerators. That was the beauty of that. I was like, oh my God, they're working together. This one here was the influencer how to be a content creator, because this was something that definitely was one that Dave really wanted to know more about, like how to become a content, and Allison too. So Allison and Geneva in this particular cohort, they both entered pageants. I found different pageants for them to be in. It's like, well, what does that have to do with PR? It has to do with positioning. And so with Geneva, she was leaving one particular career. She was 40 years as a nonprofit executive, and she was really moving into a whole different space of speaking. The pageant was Fit and Fabulous Over 50. She was actually close to 60 at the time when she won the contest, but she had never entered a pageant before. She got in it, she won. At the angst, I guess you would say, like, I don't want to do this. Well, she actually did it and realized that it gave her a whole different platform. So then she went on to speak for different ARP events, and she was like their lead person because she had this vibrancy about herself. And that actually became her program, the blueprint of how to live a vibrant life. And so those are the things. So if you see her on IG now, she's like an influencer, an over 50 influencer. So that was part of her brand now that it wasn't before. Same thing with Allison. Allison went on a couple of years later and did another pageant. Her career had been in nonprofit Jackets for Jobs, giving clothes to women who needed jobs for interviews. Well, she did that for 20 years. She was really trying to break into a whole nother kind of brand of her, who was Allison Bond, and she won Miss Fashion Global. I noticed that she had such a knack and a niche for fashion anyway, and so she didn't want to do it. She did it anyway, and she won. So those are the things sometimes in the Brand Accelerator that I will see for you, things that you probably wouldn't think about, but it really helps in terms of really sending you to a whole nother level in terms of what you want to do in position. The other one was how to repurpose your content and really how to leverage all of the assets, because one of the main things is that we can create content and content over and over, but how do you leverage it? The cohort, I think this was the one Judge was in. Yeah, this was the one. So theirs are different from the other ones, right? So if we look at, always we talk about lesson one, your purpose, your brand, showcasing your expertise, how to pitch to the media. That was something that all of them needed. How to design your website, which I realized that they all needed, and how to position yourself as an industry leader. All of them definitely in this particular cohort, how to tell their story, their brand, their business, and find their sweet spot. With this particular one, we had like a award-winning photographer, someone who was a daycare, someone who owned a daycare. We had different people in there. We had a licensed the therapist in there. So all of them finding their sweet spot was important. The power of brand storytelling, and then really just hunkering down on their PR and branding goals. And then really at that point, that's where this particular one, week number 7, it's like, okay, we've got the PR and branding goals. So how do we put this into a strategy for business? And that's when we had Kadena, who's my business partner, come in and actually speak to them about their business models. The other part is LinkedIn for Business. This particular group was a little bit older than the other group that wanted to know about IG. This one, I had someone from LinkedIn, come in and speak with us as well. And so I'll find the different resources for each particular group, knowing the things that they may need. A lot of them said, this is so overwhelming, I can't figure out how to do a lot of things online. So we had someone come in and talk about outsourcing and systems, and that was Kiera from the other accelerator. So they kind of like our family at this point. And then how to create and launch and produce your own TV show. So we had a TV producer come in and talk about how to really launch their own TV show. So that was exciting. And then the last one is always a goal setting session where I sit with everyone and say, okay, so where are we? What is your next steps? So that was exciting. And then there was a session here, this one here. So this one, yeah, this one was like a little bit different. So in this particular one, people were doing more hot seats. So a lot of this one was more hot seats and really understanding what it is that they needed to do for their business. This particular one was the one right before. Again, the first one was always showcasing your expertise, and then they have a handout. And so the expertise planner really just is like their homework where they sit with themselves, and it gives them some ideas of really how to identify their sweet spot, as a specialist and all of the things there. And some of it is, they would work it out, I guess you would say, on Clubhouse. So a lot of times I would have them work out a lot of things on Clubhouse because they can hear themselves pitching themselves. I would say, I want to hear your 30-second pitch. And even Judge would start with one way. By the end of 12 weeks, she was introducing herself totally different, but it got clearer and clearer and more concise. Again, a lot of the things that they were doing of how to jazz up the bio. All right. Because all of them had bios, but they were very dull. So I had someone come in and talk to them about what goes into a good bio. You know, again, each week is different. This one, again, Kadena talked about the business model because that was important for all of them. They were all speakers and all of them actually had, a couple of them were pastors, but they didn't know how to really put it in a monetization type of thing. And then the media pitching. And this is really, I give people a media alert template, how to become a media darling. And then I give them a lot of pitch samples. And we kind of work on their pitches so that they can actually go and pitch. That's the whole point. And so all of them, David ended up getting on Sirius XM. He's got his regular show. Dexter's got his podcast. Rodney was on cover of the magazine. He's hosting his events. Demarius probably had the biggest aha from that. What he started with and what he ended with is now really success. He's doing a YouTube series on gospel love. He was trying to start out if he wanted to do work with money, if he wanted to work with reparations. He didn't know, you know, so really by the middle of really the Branding Accelerator, he kind of got his epiphany of like where he needed to go. And so it's really been taken off. Same thing with Yolanda and Letitia. They are working together. They're doing a lot of things. Yolanda's a voiceover artist. Letitia is actually doing a lot of things overseas right now. And she also started another business, which is like assisted living facility. So all of them redid their websites. Yes, all of them redid their websites because that was really like key number one. Just like, whoo, we got to get this together. So they did that. A lot of times I tell people, if you can take it, you can make it with me, because I will tell you the truth. I will be honest. I will make sure that you are doing the work. I will put you on the hot seat and ask you, okay, like, well, why didn't you get to it? And of course, things happen in life, but I'm not the type of person that you're going to partner with and slide by. So the goals that you say that you want at the beginning, you know, I'll have you fill out a questionnaire and we'll kind of sit down and say, well, where do you want to go with this? If those are your goals, it's my job to make sure that you reach those goals. Now, you got to do your part. I'm going to do my part, and I'll probably do extra because I can give you the contacts and the resources, making sure that you're seen by the right people, all of those type of things, but you have to do your part. So that's really, really key. There was the other parts, the members forum is where, you know, the members talk to each other during the week, not on Facebook. The Ready, Set, Go is kind of like the beginning program here. The mentoring program is more like I guess you would say like a continual program always. And these are the other things if you're kind of like wondering like, well, what is that about? The first cohort, again, a lot of them, I talk about Iris, and I'm still working with a lot of them as well. But you can see how some of these are different. Like they all wanted books. They did not have books. So we had someone that come in from the publishing industry to talk to them about publishing a book. So just depends on when I put together the cohort, what it is that they need. And then I bring them those resources and really making sure that they're doing that. So that's really, really key. Go back here. Any questions so far? I'm gonna go to this next part here. All right. Slideshow. So a lot of times, one of the main things that all of the accelerators love, which is no big deal, is they want to be seen immediately right away. Like, you know, get me out there, get me out there. So really I go over like the blueprint, and this is just a blueprint that I have used over the last 20, 30 years, right? Before we can even get you out there, these are the things that you do need to have in order for your brand to be seen, get out there and get known. One is verifiable expertise. So obviously a lot of it can be your education. Sometimes it could be the years of working in a particular industry, but you do need to have verifiable expertise. If the media is going to have you as a subject matter expert, then we need to make sure that your expertise is verifiable. It can't be the fact that, oh, I went to school fly by night last year, I got a certificate, and now I'm a certified whatever. No, we're talking about if you're going to be seen on stages like CNN or MSNBC, it needs to be verifiable expertise. So that's number one. We can then the whole part of like someone making a pivot, that's where we kind of look and see like what is the bridge that we need in order for you to bring your verifiable expertise and experience. What do you need at that point in order to judge? I'm gonna mute you for a second. What do you need to bring in order to bridge that so that you can go and get on media stages and things like that. Number two is the messaging and the talking points. The messaging and the talking points are really, really critical because just like a political campaign, what are your talking points? What is your messaging? What is your niche? We probably spend a lot of time on this because this is a critical part of pitching of anything. So helping you write out your pitch, helping you understand pitches, helping you practice a pitch on Clubhouse, really putting you in places where you're seeing this actually evolve and change. Having different hooks and angles for different niches are really, really important. So we really make sure that that part is the second layer once you have the verifiable expertise. Okay, so what is it that we're actually sharing out to the media? Then crafting the content. The content is everything. The content is how people will know if you do have this expertise and they want to know what your messaging is. So I'm not saying like the content, like in terms of social media, the content could be where you're doing guest postings, where you're maybe having a Medium account, whether you are doing YouTube videos or whether you're doing TikTok, if that's something that you want to do, that's content. But you have to make sure the content is aligned with your expertise, your talking points, and then you're actually creating the content. The book is the content as well, crafting that whole content strategy, how you're going to showcase all of your expertise that the media will want you to be that subject matter expert, or people want to tap on you on the shoulder to speak. And the other one is they're tapping you on the shoulder to speak, but also to how to find the right media. Every media is not for everyone. And there's so many niche media. I just spoke at a niche conference not too long ago. There were so many different magazines. I mean, there was a magazine called Dirt. Okay, there's a magazine about dirt. So there's so many magazines. So you can be the big fish in the small pond, or you can try to be like a blurb on a large publication. But sometimes if you want to showcase your expertise, you need to really hunker down and find the right media that really speaks right to your core audience, right to your niche. And then how to pitch the media, how to wash, rinse, and repeat that, how to pitch each outlet precisely. And it should be something as regular as like, okay, I know how to pitch. And depending on news cycles and things like that, that you could do pitches 2 or 3 times a week. It's very simple to do. You'll be comfortable in doing it. You have all of your brand assets put together. You have your one sheet, you got the short bio, the long bio, the medium bio, all of the things that you need so that you can pitch. That's why someone like a publicist says that you're not ready for PRs, because you don't have the pieces. If you're pitching and they say yes, you've got to immediately send them everything that they need right away. You can pitch for like 7 weeks, right? And then when they want what they want it right away, like in 7 minutes. So that's just the game because they own the platform, right? So that's really the branding blueprint. If you have any questions about that, I can take those at the end. And so a lot of times people are thinking like TV is the end all be all, right? It's like, oh, I want to be on, Super Soul Sunday or something like that. But I always tell people don't sleep on print. Media matters. So one of the main things, obviously, that I love magazines, right? From the standpoint of all the speakers magazines, these are the things because it's something you can have in your hand that's tangible. So you look at Inc. magazine, Forbes, Entrepreneur, Fast Company, Business Insider, Success. All of these have a lot of monthly viewers. They're online magazines as well as physical magazines, but I teach you how to really leverage print. Print is one of the main leading things. TV is good. Obviously, people need to see you, hear you, and that kind of thing, but print gets you so much further positioned as really an expert. I love Success Magazine. We've had clients in Success Magazine. Those are the ones that really help position you, and really TV does a good job, but you can also use the print. So I always say, make sure that we are really talking about print pitches. So the value of the program, the Branding Accelerator, like I said, is 12 weeks. The course in itself has sold for $19.97 for roughly $2,000, just the 12 modules without me being there, just the course information by itself. But obviously we could buy courses anywhere, right? So the value of the program is really sitting with me and the contacts that I provide, right? The contacts that I provide being in the program, working with me side by side. And then the content creation. I help people write their press releases. I help them with their bios. I even, dabble in some web copy, once they kind of look at different things, it's like, okay, let me just kind of take it, because I've been in the business so long, I know what works and what doesn't. The communication in terms of me really sitting with you, helping with strategy, over the 12 weeks, 12 hours, roughly, probably a little bit more. Sometimes we're longer than an hour, which I want to make sure that I'm not longer than an hour. Check my time here. So I promised you 30 minutes. Okay, good. We got 15. And then the critiques. A lot of times you'll say, well, what do you think about this particular one? What do you think about this email, this domain? What do you think about this program name? One of the things that Dr. Geneva, when she was putting together her program, she says, I just want to sell courses. And she wanted to get a signature course. And that's when people would walk up to her. She's 72. And she says, oh, you're just so vibrant. And that's when she said, what do you think about that name? It's like, I think that's probably the name, the Vibrant Life Blueprint. And she hashtags it on Instagram and that sort of thing. But people come to her because of that Vibrant Life Blueprint. She coaches people about how to have a vibrant life and all that. And then the community. Like I said, when Charlotte was in it, she did her signature event and she invited the other accelerators to be a part of it. Judge and Monica, they'll be doing things together, because they both live in the same city. They'll do things together, or she'll help her out on her LinkedIn, or even like Dexter and Demarius, both of them are pastors. They're kind of like New York and one is in Boston. So they'll do webinars and things together. Or even Yolanda and Rodney, they did a podcast together. They didn't know each other before the accelerator, but when they are with each other and they hear each other, they'll see how they can help each other and how they really do have some things in common. I think the podcast that Rodney and Yolanda did, something like Joy on the Journey, because they were both so upbeat and bubbly. Yolanda was a voiceover and Rodney was a leadership mindset expert. He found that title, that's what he is, a leadership mindset expert. So they work together on a particular thing. So the value of this is $16,000 for over the 12 weeks. But the course actually is $7,500 for 12 weeks, right? And if you, and I meant to change that. So it says by April 29th, but if you pay before the 17th, a deposit of $1,500 or pay in full, you get a one-on-one session. So it's 12 payments. I mean, not 12 payments. It's actually 3 payments of $2,000 if you do the $1,500, or you do the 3 months and it's $2,500 a month. And we start on May 24th. The only thing that I really ask is people are make sure that they are committed for that time on the Tuesdays, every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then also we graduate in a virtual graduation on August, at the end of August. The program, Brand Accelerator program, again, I need to talk to everyone to make sure that they fit within the program, but go to brandacceleratorprogram.com, fill out the application. We'll have a conversation to see if you're a good fit with the group that we have so far. So far, we have someone who is a doctor, medical doctor, someone who is like a holistic doctor or Eastern medicine acupuncture. We have someone who is an intellectual artist, Dr. Rita as well, but we'll work on her branding as well. And then we have someone that is a business coach that actually helps people with putting together home daycares, those kind of things. So that's kind of the people that we have right now. She's working with the childcare industry. So that's really one of her things. So childcare is important for a lot of, can someone mute, who is that has their, I can't see can someone mute their phone if they have it open? All right. All right, thank you. So that's really it. You know, you guys, if you have questions, please unmute now. You can ask questions of, I see Betty is here. Betty, you're on twice. Ida and Jason, Juanita, Karen, Linda. Some of you all have come on before, and see Wanda, you just came on, and Valilia. If you have any questions about the program, you can ask them now, or even ask Judge too, you know, in terms of what she got out of the program, what was more valuable. Some people thought some modules were better, you know, weeks were better than others. You know, some people really like the TV. The last one that we did, Judge, the one with Joy that talked about television, I thought that one was really, really good, because I could see you really, you know, doing something like that. But she told you how she did it the old fashioned way, and then how the quicker way to do it now. And she gave you the exact amount of money that it would take to actually do a TV show on broadcast, not just a television show on YouTube, but an actual broadcast television. So depending on what people want, I have really good access to a lot of people, depending on what it is. I could probably have like a couple of my friends that are from CNBC come on, or MSNBC, a producer there. But a lot of times it just depends. I don't want to just use my friends and say, oh, come and speak to my group if it's not where they are. So a lot of times I make sure that the accelerator is a good fit for where they're all going, and that the expert that I bring in is what they need. You don't want to overshoot, but you also don't want to undershoot as well. So I make sure that if they're accelerated for real, then I make sure that they're on that path. If they're a little bit like at this point where they're like, you know, they need to have more of the basic things, and I'll bring in someone that maybe from LinkedIn that talks about LinkedIn, or someone from who's a social media person to talk about that. But yeah, but that's it. It is 6:20, so I have about 10 minutes. If you have any questions, you want to unmute. I would love to answer questions, even if it's generally about the branding blueprint, because so many times people are so confused about the word brand. All the people too that are in the program, they're going to get a copy of this. This is the Speak Up book as well. And it just talks about the ultimate guide on how to dominate in the speaking industry. Everybody who's in the Branding Accelerator are speakers. They all are speakers. You've got to speak in order to share your message. So that's part of it. And then they also get to be in Speakers Magazine as well. So that's part of it as well, because making sure that their message is heard, that they're getting the shine that they need in order to share their message with the world. And that's my mission. So are there any questions? I see a little hand here.
Hi, speaking of speaks, I
Hey
can't.
there. Mhm.
This is Betty Speaks speaking. And
Hey,
hi, I don't know, you disappeared on me.
can
Can
you
you
see
see
me?
me?
I can see you.
Oh, okay. So I was just looking at my calendar and I am very interested, but I leave in July on the 9th, returning on the 19th.
Ooh.
And I know. So it seems as though every time one of your classes come around, I have something that I've already obligated myself to.
So the
And my
9th, and you're coming back on the
19th of
19th.
July.
So you would miss one session. Oh no, it isn't.
It
July,
looks
you
like
said July 9th.
yes, which is I
Yeah,
have to
you would miss 2 sessions. I mean, they are recorded. I mean, obviously, you know, you can miss one, but missing 2, they might be the critical 2 to actually be there. You know, sometimes if we have an expert, the expert won't come back. I'll always be there, but if we have an expert, that might be the 2 that you really need. The 9th through the 19th, that's almost about 2 weeks.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, they are recorded. But like I said, one of the main things is a requirement that you are there. I mean, I've
Right.
had 100% attendance from everybody who's ever gone through the program. Uh,
So do you have the next available dates of your
It'll
classes?
be, it'll be the spring of 2023, probably around March, the beginning of March. Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of the things where it germinates with the group. I still work with them, even though it's 12 weeks, and Judge knows this too, that even after the group, it's not like I start another one. It's just like I basically making sure that they're meeting their goals. And so I do work with them a little bit afterwards individually, and then I start the next group. Any other questions?
I just want to say they are virtual. The sessions are virtual. So no matter where you are now with the technology to be the way it is, you still can attend a class. You just have to be able to attend it in a room where you are, and you can still do that. I'm just saying.
And have internet. So the only place you probably might be is if you're on a cruise. That might be a little crunchy, but other than that, yeah, it is definitely virtual. I remember one time Monica was at an event, and she was there, but she had her phone off, but she could hear, and she was actually there as well. And then towards the end, on the way home, she asked a question. So yeah, so it is. I mean, it's mobile. I mean, you could do it on your phone, but I would prefer people be on their desktop and actually in a mode of relaxed mode. But
Okay.
so it's really, it is virtual. I mean, we the brand accelerator never started because people were all from around the country, so it was never where we were in person. So
Okay. So it is an international trip that is a mission trip. So I'm not sure.
okay, yeah, yeah. So if it's a mission trip, then you're on a mission. So I can see where that is definitely for sure. you gotta you gotta be focused on the mission. I can see that. Yeah. Well, good. Well, if there
So,
aren't, Mhm.
sorry. Hi, this is Juanita. I just got off of work, so I was pretty silent the whole time. However, I see that this is an old one because it says a deposit due by
Right,
April 29th. When would the deposit be for this cohort?
the
And
17th.
is this
Yeah,
May 17th?
May
So it'll be
17th.
1,500, and then 3 monthly payments on the 17th of the following months.
Correct.
And when would the classes start? I didn't hear
The
that part.
24th.
Okay, on May 24th. And
Mhm.
what time and what day will they be held on?
Every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we're roughly
Okay.
till about 8:30 at the max. And then we're typically on Clubhouse because I host Clubhouse on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 9 p.m. So like Judge was on Clubhouse with us, but we did them every day when she when we were her cohort. That cohort was like every day. They were there every day. And but they actually held their own room. So they held their own, I gave them their own topics to do. Like this was their particular day. So anyway, but yeah, so from 9 to 10 on Tuesdays, I would require you to kind of be there to practice out your picture, what you're learning in the Speaker PR and Branding Club. And roughly we have between that usually come live somewhere between 30 to 40 that are live. And then the replays are always there as well. So you can actually hear yourself as you're answering questions from this quote unquote stage. So roughly like say your Tuesday evening is pretty much like the accelerator evening.
Oh, okay. And then so we walk away with the bio, the one page and all of that good stuff. And if we do the whole portion with you, then we still got one-on-one, even if we do the payment plan.
Well, you'll
Uh-oh.
be the hot seats with me. You won't do the one-on-one if you do the payment plan, but you will still do the hot seats with me. So we do have the one-on-ones during the program, but not like solo by yourself.
Okay. And I know that you mentioned a diverse group. One person who helps daycares, the other one, and the other doctors who do different things. How do you go about matching up with the program and with the cohort that you have currently? What would not fit? Like, what would be the
I
square
was
peg in the round
Yeah,
hole?
I would say, and not because they don't fit, it's just wouldn't fit with the group. Like say for someone who is like this particular group, someone who is a pastor, that probably would not be a good for this group, but we had two last time. Or someone who has a movie, right? That, just an entertainment movie. I mean, because this group is pretty serious. They pretty much are in a subject matter expert mode. So that's why we'll kind of talk to the person to see what the string is, or how they would fit. But just looking at before, when we had the two pastors and we had someone who was into wealth, and then two inspirational speakers, they work together. Say someone who
Yeah.
has a nail salon, that probably wouldn't be a good fit in this group.
Okay. All right. I seen online, I just in my email, you sent a message where we can talk. So I just need to schedule an appointment and do a one-on-one with you, talk, and then we figure out if I fit
Yeah, you
in
fill
this
out that.
cohort.
Yeah, you fill out the application on the Brand Accelerator, because once you kind of go through that initial one, you'll see if you have a lot of no's, and the no's will be turned into yeses. That's one of the first promises that I make for the program, that all your no's turn to yeses when you fill out the application. Then we'll have a conversation. So from there, my assistant Leah, she'll send you a schedule link once I look at your application.
Okay. All right. And if we don't fit with this cohort, we could start off doing the modules and stuff and then do a live cohort after. Would you recommend that or no?
Yeah, the Ready, Set, Go, Speak, you can actually do that one. That one is self-paced, and that's always rolling. The Ready, Set, Go, Speak, you can actually go through that particular program where it is self-paced. You have a vault. Once a month, I will sit with you. There's program managers that are in there. There is a lot of the information that's in there is just, I'm just not there with you, taking you through modules and really listening to what it is that you need from week to week. But it is a program that I would say most people are in it for at least a year, because it is so intense. It's very robust. And then every Monday you get a marketing memo. And basically that marketing memo just says, okay, these are the small activities that you should do this week. And you get 52 of those.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
All right. I will schedule an appointment and we can talk about which one I should start off with and go from there.
All right, sounds good. I saw Cheryl
Thank you.
you're welcome. I saw Cheryl just come in as well. So we're about to end. Cheryl, did you have any questions or anything, or you're just coming to support? I see that she came in. Well, thank you. Thank you. Cheryl was one of the ones that introduced me to Judge Leanya Lloyd, even though I knew of her, didn't know her. So I thank you, Cheryl, for introducing me to Judge. She had seen me on various platforms and knew that I love authors and books and helping people really maximize their messages out to the media. So thank you so much, Cheryl, for doing that.
You're welcome. Good evening, everyone. I'm sorry I'm late.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
Do you have time for one more question?
Yes, it's 6:30. So I just want to be respectful of everybody's time. But now, who
Okay.
was that said that?
It's Betty Riddick. How are
Hi,
you?
Betty. Good. I had two Bettys in here. That's very
Yeah.
unusual. I know.
Yeah. I'm just trying to see where I can fit in, because I am already an author. I've already started a YouTube channel. I've already, I do Facebook Live, and I'm just trying to see how and when to get started.
So a lot of the things that's what I call, you have the tactics, but the strategy of it is, first of all, do you have a SEO website, like a search engine optimized website? If I were looking for you, would I be able to find you based on who you are and what the media would be looking for?
Well, I just temporarily took the website down because I've been at this for a while, and I don't have my website up at this time. I just didn't want to invest anymore because I'm in the stuck phase. Does that make sense?
Well,
And
one of the things I will say, Betty, even if the longer you have your website up, the more Google-licious you will be. Okay. So by taking it down, you're starting all over again. So even if you didn't take it down and just changed it to like a landing page, would be better than taking it all down. So now everything runs on search engine optimization, and without getting too technical. So one of the things that I would suggest, I do a podcast every week called Get Out There, Get Known. listen to those as a good way to kind of like get unstuck. And then also too, I have another podcast training. If you go to the dbapodcast.com, those podcasts are podcasts 2 to 14 will tell you why you need to do certain things in certain sequences. And it really talks a lot about digital marketing. And I don't want to go over your head, but those are so simple for you to understand what to do first. When you have a website, the main thing for doing any social media, even YouTube, is to make sure it drives traffic to your website. And the media comes to your website, your customers come to your website, meeting planners come to your website. So the dbapodcast.com, listen to those podcasts first, podcast 2 to 14. We did 52 of them. You can listen to all 52, but the core of it, you can download actually the book that comes with it as well, to know like how to really set up everything online. Because a lot of this is so new for people that, the internet itself is new, but a lot of times people are just like, if they're just jumping into it now, it's like, oh my God, I feel like I can't catch up. So those podcasts will help you understand why certain things are done the way they are, and not just jump out here and just start doing Facebook Lives. Like, what is that doing? You'll feel overwhelmed after a while because it doesn't have a strategy and you don't know why you're doing it. And so
Mhm.
yeah. And so sometimes I can see if I were just starting out, and I've been online for a long time, if I were just starting out now, it would be overwhelming. It would be
Well,
so overwhelming because it's so much. It's so much. It's even for me. And I know a lot about social media and digital marketing and that sort of thing. I mean, I've had WordPress websites, I've had Joomla websites, I've had other content management systems. I mean, I've had HTML websites. I mean, but today it's it's moving very rapidly. And so you can't learn a lot of things on Google. You can't learn a lot of things on Clubhouse. It really does take someone that's going to walk with you side by side and say, okay, this is a step for you to take next. And this is a step, and this is the resource that you need. So, but you don't even know what you don't know. So you need to listen to those podcasts first. Restore your website as soon as you can, because the longer you take it down, the less Google juice is going to get eventually. Websites that have been up there for a long time have that people can find those quickly. If you take it down, you're starting all over again. So
Well, I guess it's because I never had the traffic. That's where and I'll go and look at this stuff because I've been at it since 2016.
yeah, so a lot of it has to do with everybody's website is not the same. Not looking at the back end of it, but if it's searching to optimize and it really does have a, I don't know if it was WordPress, if it was Wix, if it was Weebly, or what format, what content.
GoDaddy, I used GoDaddy. I think I had.
No, that's not one we would recommend in the program. GoDaddy is good for URLs. It really is. That's what they're known for. But a GoDaddy website is not a robust content management system. GoDaddy really started as selling URLs. So go listen to the podcast, the DBA podcast,
Sure.
and you will hear why.
Exactly.
The traffic question will be answered and you'll be like, oh my God, I wish and you don't know what you don't know. So that's a good place to start. GoDaddy will sell you everything. GoDaddy will sell you a car if you let them. I mean, once you start checking out, they're like, do you want this? Do you want that? Do you want this? It's like, I don't use GoDaddy for hosting. I don't use GoDaddy for websites. You use GoDaddy for URLs, domain names. That's really their main thing. So you want to go to specialists for what their specialty is. They can do it, but that's not what they're really good at. WordPress, which is a website, wordpress.org, those are good CMS systems, content management systems.
So is it possible to get a one-on-one with you as well so that I could at least see which way to go? I mean, because after all,
yeah, I have one-on-one strategy sessions, and those are 5,500. I could pamperrypr.com/products, and you could do the one-on-one. It's usually a 90-minute session. It comes with a strategic plan as well. And those are 5,500. And those are rolling. So you could do that at any point in time. It's not like it starts as a start and an end date.
Okay, thank you so very much.
You're welcome. Any other questions? I'm making sure that, oh, there's a chat. I gotta make sure to look at the chat. Okay, very good. Yes, exactly. All right, well, it is exactly, what is it exactly? 6:38, 8 minutes over. I just promised like 60 minutes. So we're a little bit longer than that, but thank you all so much for joining today. And again, go to brandacceleratorprogram.com, fill out the application. If you're serious, we'll have a conversation, see if it's a fit. If it's not, I have other things that possibly might be a fit for you, but I never want to have people be in something that's not going to work for them, because that's not a good feeling. It has to be win-win for all of us. So with that, thank you all for joining me. All righty, we'll talk to y'all later. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
All righty.
Take care,
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Take care. Bye-bye. Bye, Juanita.